Hi, you're welcome to Success Tips. In this video today, we will be looking at how to avoid the impact of a national economic crash on an individual or on a business. When the economy goes bad, both individuals and businesses struggle to meet up their own basic needs. And this is what we are going to be discussing, and then we will look at the causes of this, the impact, and then how to prevent one from being a victim of such. This video comes from my own personal research on the impact of a very bad economy on individual and businesses. And after you have successfully gone through this topic, then you will get to understand the basic steps and principles that you will need to put in place in order to avoid yourself as an individual or as a business from being, a victim of such crashed economy. These principles are not only going to be beneficial and impactful or helpful to you when you are in a country, maybe a particular country like Nigeria or so, but as long as you make use of these principles, okay, all over the world, if you make use of them, then they are going to be very helpful to you in preventing yourself from being, impacted by a negative or by a crashing economy. Especially the developing countries, whenever you experience, a possibility of an economic crash down, if you are having these things in place, then it's going to be very easy for you to escape the impact of such. Now, let us start by looking at the background of the economic crash and rust that individuals and businesses are facing. One of the impact of economic crash that you get to see on individuals is that people that normally were able to, afford their own basic needs, being able to cater for their own livelihood, now all of a sudden get to now see that they are not even able to meet up 50% of that, their basic needs. And then you will see such people making an effort, trying to increase their own income, trying to add up another side hustle to their own income, but then they will keep on watching it coming down to the extent that they may not even be able to afford 50% of the basic livelihood and need that they ever needed. I had a discussion with an individual. He told me that their employer, increased their own wages, but then he was confessing that even with that increment, he was still not being able to afford the kind of things that he, was able to afford during the time when, the economy used to be better than it is now. This is a typical situation that an individual faces during an economic crash down. In the same manner, companies even suffer more when it comes to economic crash down. A company may be thriving well and then doing very well as a business, and then there comes an economic crash down, at the national level, and then you now discover that, okay, the price of raw materials just keep on rising, the employees are now looking for better wages to be able to, improve on their livelihood or maintain their own livelihood. Now looking at the cost of production just skyrocketing all of a sudden, and then the customers may even buy those products at a higher price. The company may try to inflate the price of their products because they are now having more cost when it comes to the production. But then with the increasing revenue and increasing income that the company may be having, still the company may be struggling to be able to pay off their basic operational needs like the salary to their staff, the cost of all these raw materials, importation of goods that they need at the cost of their own production or things like that. So economic crash down can be so detrimental that it can affect even the net profit of a company. Now, having gone through the effect of the national economic crash down on individuals and businesses, now it's very important for you to find out and then try to know the exact factors that are responsible for such impacts. And it will interest you to know that one of the major things that is causing such impact is what I call the double inflation. Now, from the word double inflation, it means it comes from two different ends. The first one is natural inflation, while the second one is local currency devaluation. Now, let us look at natural inflation. Okay, so it is very important for you to know, when you look back at the hand of time, you will discover that the price of commodities, products and services, has been on the rise since from the onset of time. And this is influenced by a lot of factors like demand, supply, cost of raw materials, government policies, taxations, and a lot of things like that, especially the modernization. Okay, so the natural inflation is something that is continuously on the go, and then one can do little or nothing about it. It will be a self-deceit for you to believe that the price of commodities will stay stable over a period of time. Let me give an example of what natural inflation means. Let's say a Rolex watch costs about $10 last year, and then as time goes on, the cost now became $20 this year. That is a natural inflation. For some of you that are good at mathematics, then you will now discover that it was 100% increase on the price of the Rolex watch. Okay, now imagine someone trying to buy a Rolex watch for a cost of $20 when the person should have just bought it $10 last year. So you can imagine the extent of inflation, natural inflation on an individual and businesses. Natural inflation has contributed significantly to the declining livelihood of individuals and entities. I believe by now you know what a natural inflation means. Now let's take a look at the second one, which is local currency devaluation. This is a situation where a particular country's currency keeps on losing value on a continuous basis. For example, let's take a look at dollar to naira exchange rate. Let's say the exchange rate of dollar to naira as at last year was 800 naira per dollar. If the naira value gets devaluated by 100%, it means by this year the exchange rate for dollar to naira will be 1,600 naira per $1. This means that you might have doubled your income in the local currency, but in reality the value of that money you have put up is still the same thing when it comes to the dollar equivalent. If you have not doubled your own income, it means your equivalent dollar worth of what you will be making this year will be worth less than what you made last year. This is one of the major factors that contributes to the impact of economic crash down on individuals and businesses. When you combine natural inflation and local currency devaluation, when you put them together, that is when you would now set to face a double inflation. Let us take a look at what double inflation means in reality. If you look at the Rolex watch we used as an example in the illustrations above, its price as at last year was $10, and then the exchange rate from dollar to naira as at last year was 800 naira per dollar. This means that the price of that Rolex watch last year in naira was 8,000 naira. This is how we arrived at that. If you multiply the price of the Rolex watch, which is $10, by the exchange rate, which is 800 naira, then you are going to arrive at 8,000 naira. Now coming to this year, the price of Rolex watch now inflated by 100%, making it $20, okay? And then the exchange rate from dollar to naira is 1,600 naira. It also increased by 100%. Now let's take a look at this. The price of the Rolex watch in naira this year will be 32,000 naira. Why? Because you experienced a double inflation. If you look at the global market, the price of a Rolex watch increased by ×2, okay? But if you look at your own local economy, the price of Rolex watch increased by ×4, okay? Instead of it to rise from 8,000 naira to 16,000 naira, that is a double, but then it jumped from 8,000 naira to 32,000 naira, and this happens as a result of double inflation, which I just explained earlier. I just made this illustration using a Nigerian naira, okay? But you can make this analysis using your own country's currency, and then you will get to see the massive impact of double inflation on the livelihood of individuals and companies. With that, you will now get to understand the root cause of struggling individuals and struggling companies when the economy goes bad, and then you will get to understand why the price of commodities keeps on increasing in a geometric manner. And I tell you this wholeheartedly, if you can be able to find a solution to this challenge, you will be on your way to taking out your life from financial struggle and difficulties. And even if your country's economy goes bad, you will be exempted from the impact as long as you find solution to this very problem. And the solution to this problem is what exactly I will be explaining in the next video, okay, which is a part 2 to this very topic. Please check out the next video to find a lifetime rescue from a financial torture. I believe you have found value in this video. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, I will want you to click on the subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell. And if you're a returning viewer, I would love to say thank you. I will need one favor from you. Please share this video with just one person. Thank you, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.